First of all, selling is getting people what they want and need. A mature salesperson gets people what they want and need, sometimes helping them to discover what it is that they actually want and need. In the same sense that a great teacher might know what a student needs to learn more than the student's original desire to learn. Okay? So becoming a great salesperson, and you were talking about two different things, being a great salesperson, which is about knowing how to communicate brilliantly. Now, not necessarily know how to persuade, but know how to communicate brilliantly. And that also means knowing when to not speak. But there's dependent people. Those are the people who are dependent on their mom and dad. And then sometimes they go into the military and they're dependent on the military. And then they're dependent on a company they work for. And they don't realize they've technically never grown up. So a person can have a doctorate and still be dependency-based in their maturity. A person can have a degree in engineering. A person can have a PhD. A person can have 8 master's degrees and still be dependency-based in their thinking. And as a matter of fact, they can keep getting various layers of education to avoid facing independence. Independence is scary at first because you're to blame. It's your deal. And so when you're working for yourself, you have nobody to blame but you. Circumstances change and you either adapt or you don't. So I think the first concept that's crossing my mind as you speak is a lot of these people who are leaving their jobs and going to work for themselves are having a very big maturity drama as they go from dependent to truly independent. Then they have another maturity drama when it's time to be intra-dependent and cooperate within teams when they just got proud of being independent. Now, for some people, this happens at 70 years old. Some people it happens at 50. Some people it happens at 16. Some people it happens at 10. But being comfortable with the risk and understanding how to manage risk is one of the maturity skills that people who are great at marketing, connecting the people who need what you sell with what you're selling. That maturity is necessary. Okay? And it's not as common as you might think, because you can be incredibly smart and not good at being independent. You can be incredibly talented and not be great at being independent. So being charming is wonderful, but if people are only buying from you because you're charming, that's not really helping them, is it? So the first thing a great salesperson has is they sort by others and want to get the other person what they need. They want the other person to actually have a return on their investment, either saving time or making money or saving money. But a great salesperson cares about what happens to the person they're communicating with. They're about people more than they're about the product. They're about people more than they're about the product. So it doesn't matter what you're selling. You could be selling helping humans change. You could be selling doing a great job. You could be selling consulting. You could be selling widgets. But Robbie, in the modern world, we have a new problem. And that's the internet. So in the old days, we helped people decide what they're going to buy. But in the new world, people come up with something they want. They search for exactly that. They don't really compare. They think they are because they're jumping from website to website, but they're not actually looking at multiple solutions. They're looking in a very straight line. So it goes attention, interest, consideration, conversion, and advocacy. That's how the internet works. The weird thing is there isn't any salesmanship in that. None. It works the same as flipping a coin. There's no actual good, connected, understanding of what the customer needs and how you're giving it to them. Not really. So it's harder to teach great connection and sales now than it has ever been. So my first answer to you is, do the people care about the other people more than they care about their own agenda? Because if they don't, they can't be a great salesperson. Do they have the maturity to tolerate the risk of being independent, which is very rare today? So I don't know if that matches your experience, but that's my first thoughts on your question.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that I've seen are, what they struggle with is that they are actually very well-meaning. They're almost like perfectionists about what they wanted to deliver to people. And so they get very self-sorted because of it. They're worried and in fear that they're going to fail the other person or not do a good enough job or be humiliated or something. And so because of it, it's very hard for them to actually focus on the other person because that's running. Because if we're feeling in fear, even with good intentions, it's hard to.
In 1985, we'd have called that performance anxiety.
Yeah. Yes.
We'd have said that they had that they were too self-conscious and that they were not taking in the outside world because they had performance pressure, performance anxiety. We'd have called it too much self-consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a way of life. It's the rule. It's not the exception. It's the rule now.
Mm-hmm.
So a fish doesn't know it's wet. So if you're working with someone and they're with 50 other people at a company and they all feel that way, they don't even know it's odd.
Right.
Isn't that fascinating?
It sure is.